everyone, Therese here. Man, it's good to see you. I got a lot of messages from the team to share right now, and I've got karma cards that I want to do with you. So I want to start with the ideas around consent. Man, I don't know if anybody saw it. I had put a post on my personal profile yesterday that went batshit crazy really fast. It went crazy really fast. And yeah, I mean, you can look at it if you want to. It's not really worth it. It went low vibe, which is not what I intended. I was talking about making choices with our money, and I was trying to get to the point about consent, what we give our consent to, and consciously using consent. And it was really interesting because I have been, like every day, constantly listening to material. It's like I'm a sponge right now. I'm just absorbing in as much information as I can get. And I was listening to Dolores Cannon, her book, Convoluted Universe, Part 1. Somebody recently recorded it and put it on Audible. And I'm like always listening to Audible while I do my art. So I was like, oh yay, a new Dolores Cannon book. So I'm starting to listen to that. And it went right into Atlantis. And I've talked about Atlantis in these Facebook Live shows before, where I was telling you that there's an overlay that I feel is happening between the Atlantean time period and now. There's a time is compressing, right? And then the layers are overlapping. So we're redoing Atlantis. And specifically, I want to talk about the fact that Atlantis was a civilization that was around for a long time. I think it had at least one golden age, if not a couple of golden ages. But it was a civilization that sort of went like this. It really advanced. It became sort of the height of human advancement, and then it rapidly started to decline. It went into a type of shadow, and that's when the destruction of Atlantis happened. That's when the big tidal waves hit and destroyed it. At its peak, at its height, what Atlantis was, it was a very high vibrational civilization, and they were so spiritually and mentally advanced. They had merged themselves on so many levels that they had unlocked the human psyche to levels and potentials we haven't seen in our lifetime yet. And the way that their society worked, the way that they created together, when they wanted to create something new, something that was going to have an effect on the whole. So if they were creating on a like a government level in Atlantis per se, what they would do is they would tap into the entire civilization of Atlantis. They would tap into them, and they would share with them what it is they intended to create. And what they needed to get was everybody's conscious consent for this new creation to come forward. Because they had advanced so much and had learned that even one person dissenting in the field of consciousness would warp the manifestation they were trying to bring forward. So in order to keep the manifestation at its purest, they consciously needed the consent of everyone. And if they couldn't get the consent of everyone, then the manifestation, whatever they were trying to bring forward, would not go forward, because they knew that they couldn't bring forward the pure intent of it. It would somehow get warped in the field, right? So the reason I bring this up is because I have talked about how in the negative timeline, in the false negative timeline, and those who work in a dark or false way, often to make what they want happen, they need us. It's still the same. They still need our cooperation. They still need the group consensus for it to manifest, because manifestation, when we are seeing it in the external world, is a group manifestation. We do it together. So to have a pure manifestation come forward, they would need the group to consent to it. When they want to create something, when they want to manipulate the group consciousness, They need to get our consent by showing it to us, but they don't need to tell it. They've figured out how to get implied consent. That's what I'm trying to get to here. The negative dark groups figured out a long time ago how to get implied consent. And how it works is they have to show you what they want to create. And if we do not respond to it, either with a yes or a no, then it is implied that we are okay with it. So that is how they get implied consent. So this happens all the time. Things are shown to us constantly, but not. But again, it's manipulated. It's done in a way where this is a story. This is fiction. This is just a what if, right? That they put it out there, and because we see it, and we're taking it at the face value, thinking, that we're getting honest information. When we do nothing, when we look at that and we're like, but whatever, and we walk away, then that's like, okay, good enough, that's consent. And that's how they use the group consciousness or the group's unconsciousness to help create it in the world. As we individually raise our frequency, raise our vibration, we become more consciously aware. And that is why the power of non-consent, even if it's not something that you are, there's levels to it, right? There's an energetic non-consent, then there's, the verbal non-consent, taking action of non-consent. All of these are levels of that. But I think that we tend to dismiss the energetic level of non-consent. So what I was talking about yesterday is that when something is shown to us that we have adverse reaction to, but we think nothing of it, we're just like, I'm going to ignore it. That's actually not saying no, right? It's just ignoring it because it's like it's too uncomfortable to deal with. It's something that is unsavory, but what can I do about it, right? What I was trying to point out is that when we do not consent in energy by saying, I do not consent to this, and get really specific on whatever it is you're not consenting on, in energy, in the energy field, what you do is you present a barrier. It cannot be made manifest the way it's intended to if people are denying consent in energy. So I hope that makes sense. And to show you the opposite, the Atlantean age, they understood this, and that's why they wouldn't make things unless everybody was on board, because they wanted the purest level of manifestation to come forward. Well, nowadays, as we're waking up to all sorts of things and wondering, what the hell, like, what do I do about it? It is such a hot mess. What do I do? The first thing that we can do is take whatever it is that we're seeing and really examine it for ourselves. And if it's not something that's kosher to you, you can deny it consent, right? And it's not like you have to go on Facebook like I did, or say it to anyone. You just need to state it in energy within yourself, and that helps create the barrier, or it will warp the manifestation so that it is not what they intend to create. So there's where we have some power, just in energy, just in the energy of our own intent and our own mind. And I just wanted to share that cool connection between what's coming forward from eons ago until now, and how we are the same beings. We're just asleep to what we are. And the more aware we become of really what we truly are, it's game over. It is game over for sure. Like, no bullshit can be pulled on a sovereign being, which is one of the reasons why I've talked so much about personal sovereignty. I want to talk about unity. In today's Instagram post, I wrote, unity starts with you, right? The letter U. But it also starts with you. So much of our, so many people are, there's so many good people in this world who want to see the world be a better place. That is a beautiful intention, and I know that is where we are going. Without a doubt, I know it's where we're going. We have to remember, though, the outside world is simply a reflection of our internal world. When we're striving for unity, that means we want to create a unified field. We need to make sure we are a unified field. Remember, everything is just rippling out from a central point. So we, as individuals, we often identify like a singularity, but we are not. We are parts and pieces. And especially the more trauma we experience in our life, the more we tend to fracture. And we can fracture from small things, from a small rejection, all the way to big traumatic events that are happening in our life. This can create fractures in us. So I want you to think of your original template when you're born is like a beautiful clear mirror, but every negative event that you experience can create a crack. And after so many of these, then we get shards, right? We get shards of mirror. And those who do shaman work understand this, that these fragments will leave our field, our individual field, and we will place them places, usually unconsciously, but we will leave fragments of ourselves everywhere. I mean, here's an example. You can think about many times if we're in a negative location where something negative has happened to us, or we have bad associations, many parts of us will leave. We will not really leave any part there. And if we're stuck in that negative area, we will send much of our energy out of it to protect ourselves. That's one example of how we would leave a fragment. And many times when we're having traumatic experiences, fragments that that feel like they're taken from us in some way, something is taken from us, we perceive it like that. That's like a fragment being pulled to an area as well. Then we can look at positive experiences, truly beautiful positive experiences in our life. Sometimes it will feel so good that we will fragment on purpose and keep a piece of ourselves there. Sometimes there are people in our life who touch us so deeply that we intentionally fragment ourselves and we say, you have a piece of me, you have a piece of my heart, right? So we fragment for lots of reasons. When we understand that we're not nothing about this world is real, nothing is truly solid. If we could see ourselves on a particle level, we'd stop seeing a mass or a form and we'd see many little pieces. So fragments are like those many little pieces. And as we continue to grow and have more experiences and develop our own moral character or take on ethics or values of our family or our society, that can cause us to fragment pieces more. And then we can start actually rejecting pieces of ourselves. There's parts of our personality that we think are worthy of being seen, or we have been validated for, or make us feel safe and acceptable. There are also parts of our personality that we perceive to be dangerous. Interestingly enough, not always negative, they're just dangerous, like maybe vulnerability, for example, is a part of ourselves that we could perceive to be dangerous. Being emotional, like being an emotional person, is another example. There's also parts of us like our jealousy, our rage, our selfishness, other parts of ourselves, right? So we have all these little pieces out there, and some of them we claim quite easily and others we reject. So the point of unity and creating more unity in the world is starting with you, right? You for unity. So start with you. And the idea here is that you want to call all pieces back to you. And this is a long process. Obviously, it's not something you can do with a worksheet and a piece of paper and be like, right, I'm a unified field, let's do this. It takes time. But even just the intention of unifying the self, learning to accept or love the self, the creating compassion, forgiveness, and acceptance of the self starts to unify the field. And then there is work you can do to go retrieve those pieces that are really buried, right? This is when you do work with shamans and you do shadow work or you do peace work to start to bring these pieces back in. as we do this, we start to naturally feel more powerful. We are calling our power back to ourselves. So a quick exercise that we can do to really amplify the process. And again, I'm not promising done. I'm just saying we can amplify it. I used to do this before going on stage all the time, just to kind of create a sensation of like bringing all of myself to the present moment. But I would stand there and I would imagine, I would say, all pieces of Therese come back to me now. And I would just imagine like all these like beautiful, crystal shards, bits of light, whatever you want to see, just coming in to the center, right? Visualizing those coming in. And as you feel them coming in, you start to get a stronger sense of self and power, right? And as we start to feel that, we start to really ground our energy and really know who we are. The only way someone can manipulate you truly is if you don't know who you are. By doing this work, where we are owning and claiming all parts of ourselves, the good and the parts that we might not feel as comfortable with, we start to know who we are, right? We know where we're strong and we know where we're weak. And when you know who you are, it's harder to manipulate you. Someone who would want to manipulate you is going to look for your weakness and use it against you. Well, when you already accept where you're weak, and you know that's the area that's a trigger for you, it's really hard to get you to engage in a kind of negative, manipulative game, because you already know, that would get me, but I totally accept that about myself, right? So we're unifying our inner world. As we do that, we become a unified field. As we become a unified field, it is so much easier to look at the person next to you and start accepting all of them. All of them. As you do that, you start to unify with them. You then become a unified field together, and so on and so forth, until we've created a mass unified field. So in this time where we've got people literally screaming at us, literally bullying each other, that you have to do something now, and you have to change who you are, and you got to do it this way. We can hear that, we can thank them for their opinion, and then we can come back to, I just need to be this space of acceptance, love, and unification within myself. I accept all parts of me. I accept the good and the not so great, and I bring them together. It really is. I mean, I keep asking my team, because I really don't want to get on here and just like BS people. That's never my intention. So I always sit down and ask my team, is there anything else we're supposed to be doing? And they said, Therese, it's been we've laid it out for you. We've been talking to you about this since 2015. We've been just again and again. It really is about doing the inner work. And there's going to be a lot of distraction from that. And they just keep saying, keep coming back to it. Trust that process. That is the process. When we are, fully accepting of ourselves, we are fully accepting of others. Easy peasy. So that's the other level. And then the last part before we get to karma cards, to this message. So we've got understanding that the power of your consent or non-consent can help manifest or block a manifestation. We've got the part where to truly unify the world, we have to be unified within ourselves. And then we take it out each level. And this is how we do it. And then on the final level, they say, remember to be in the, we're in this world, but you're not of it. In this world, but not of it. Now, for those of us who resonate with these messages, who love the card readings, who love the spirit guide contact, who love, angel messages and all that stuff, we've always been a little bit more on the transcendent side. So there's the balance point, which is in the world but not of it. Like, I'm here, I chose to be here, but I know I am something more than what this experience is telling me. That's the balance point. Y'all tend to hang out with me on this extreme of transcendence. We're trying to get out. We're here. We're like, ooh, okay, help. Nanu, let's get home. Like, we're like, okay. And Galactic Family, you are where? And, Archangel Michael, can you bring me home? We tend to hang out on the, I don't like this, I want to get out. So we've been raising our frequency, raising our vibration, making contact, getting the messages, and no ship is coming to pick us up because we're supposed to be here. There is another side, right, which is out of balance, which is identifying so much with the world that you've lost touch with spirit, that you suddenly think that everything is particle and matter and nothing more. The energy in between it is empty space. And that is the far extreme. And that is being of the world, becoming mass or matter-based, which is the false timeline, and why it's so painful, and it's hopeless and finite. So we're not supposed to go that way either. We're supposed to find this point in the middle, that we are a transcendent higher energy that is a multi-dimensional being with multi-consciousness, yet we chose to be here and have this experience. And I do believe a majority of us here came here to create the switch in frequency and to help make it a smoother transition. Because every time frequency had to switch on this planet, it was like, bam, the planet, the civilization gets wiped. There's not, everything about the civilization is gone. A chunk of humanity is sort of preserved, and then they have to start again. And this is not the time to have that experience anymore. The time of that is over, and we're actually trying to create a bridge between lost civilizations, which we will get the information back and it will come out for sure. These lost civilizations and where we are now, and we're trying to create the bridge between the two. Because so many times in Earth's history, humanity peaked. It hit a massive peak, and it then was lost, right? Because we go through these cycles and eras of energy. We get a high level of golden age energy, and eventually it devolves into silver, bronze, and iron. We hit the iron age, that's the shadow age. And these are the times when we tend to lose it. We're already in the shadow age. We are coming out. So the worst of it is coming out. We're, I would say that we're probably out of iron and well out of bronze. I would say that we're definitely moving into silver, like a silver type age. I keep trying to see it because you can kind of see this wheel if you tune into the energy of it. But it's definitely like a silver gold age. So we're on our way back up. This is usually the point where if we don't get it, the reset button gets pushed, and we're doing everything we can as a consciousness, a higher consciousness, to bridge the transition instead of having to completely start over. We're the team, guys. It's us. It's all of us. We are the ones who had not only the ability to bridge it and the excitement and enthusiasm to bridge it. We're freaking tough. Okay, you're fucking tough. Okay, you were here. You were chosen and celebrated. This really is a time to be excited. It's a little scary because we don't remember all of who we are until we start unifying ourselves. So it really is, when I go back to the team, it's always do the self-work. Trust that what you do in here is going to have an impact out there, because when you are all here, you are very powerful, and that little bit of power, you have no idea what your impact is on the world. Even just one smile at the right moment can save a life, and you know this, right? So we were here, we were chosen, and we need to be in the world but not of it, meaning that we can watch the the shifting that's happening right now, because there's the great shift, right? We're still in a like 5-planet retrograde where everything about structure is being redone, and everything about personal responsibility to create new structures is in play. Everything about healing the shadow self is in play. Everything about restructuring our philosophy is in play. It's all there. It's all being asked to be worked on this incredibly deep level. So how do we be in the world but not of it? We remember that we came here on purpose. And we also hold the awareness that we're more than what we see. And when we start holding these 2 points, that I chose to be here very purposely. Nobody forced me to be here. I'm not being punished by being here. I chose to be here on purpose. It changes the energy inside of you. And then you hold this awareness of something more. I am more than what I see. You start to upright an inverted world. What that does is you start to realize that what you are choosing to believe, and what you choose to believe and decide about the world, you get to experience. Believing becomes seeing. Instead of the inverted saying of seeing is believing, we upright it. Believing is seeing. And with that, let's go into karma cards. For those who are new to karma cards, here's how we play. I have 3 decks: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And the way that you play is you decide if you want an action-related answer right now or an outcome-related answer. The timing of this reading is from today, August 26th, to Tuesday, September 1st. I was reading the word purple, and I said first, September 1st. Let me tell you the flavor of this reading. We have the planet Jupiter, who is in retrograde, but Jupiter's energy is still really good. It's all about expansion, right? We're expanding our energy, and I hope you feel that when you practice bringing you back into you. I hope you feel that amazing expansion, because you are so much more. In Scorpio, oh, my Scorpio. Scorpio is a tricky sign. It's very psychic, right? So psychic attunement happening, but it's also looking at both sides. Scorpio is, if anything, Scorpio is very balanced and fair. It does not really play sides. It wants to see everything. So Scorpio likes the truth. What is going what's going on with my tongue? First, Scorpio. Okay. And finally, the 6th house is in play, and this is the house of health and service to others, which is ruled by Virgo, which is the sign our sun is currently in right now. For those who are choosing red or action, your spiritual action at this time is to learn or teach the extraordinary power of prayer as a full-time job. Oh God. I have to laugh. It's good. I like it, but does that feel like get in your energy right now? Learn or teach the extraordinary power of prayer as a full-time job. So the extraordinary power of prayer. One of my favorite sayings about prayer is the prayer is the asking, and meditation is the when you get the answer. So what this says to me is we got to ask for more, right? So as we are doing things like maybe denying our consent, I do not consent to this, I do not consent to being forced to do things, that kind of stuff, we also need to make sure we're putting in the order of what we want. Remember, believing is seeing. So the more that we concentrate on the energy we want to see, the more we help create it. And definitely that's a really great point. I want you to take the word prayer and interpret it how it feels to you, right? There's so many layers to this, but the extraordinary power of prayer, the extraordinary power of asking universe for help. However you hear that word, learn or teach the extraordinary power of prayer as a full-time job. Every day, get in there. Every day. And, you know, the most powerful asks we can do is when we're asking for someone or something else. When it's a selfless ask, the universe really responds to that because ultimately you're involved in that, right? The universe acknowledges it came from you. You are involved, but you're involving others. And service to self is the higher timeline. Service to others rather, is the higher timeline. It also includes service to self, but it's a self that's included in a whole, right? So service to others is the higher timeline. When we are asking for others, may this person be at ease, may this person be at peace, may they experience vital energy, may they experience joy, may they be free of suffering. When we ask for these things and more for others, man, the universe gets right on that, because that's right in alignment with what your higher self would choose. The mental action at this time: be positive about the highest and lowest aspects of serving. Be positive about the highest and lowest aspects of serving. The highest and lowest aspects. So I remember from the Law of One, when they talk about energy, they always say energy, especially in this realm where polarity exists, it's on a continuum. When it comes to serving, they would put that on the continuum of honor and duty. The highest and lowest. It is my honor to serve you. It's my duty to serve you. Right? So get positive about this. It means whether you do it with joy in your heart or maybe a little like grudgingly, like I have to do this. If you're in service, that's still positive energy that's being acknowledged right now. It always feels better when you can understand how it's a privilege, right? How it's connected to something you want. When you can see service as something that not only serves the other person, but it serves you. You know, they say one of the easiest ways to find happiness is to give happiness to someone else, which is a service, right? So be positive about the highest and lowest aspects of serving. Physical action at this time: grow and expand, control the situation, and do it a little at a time. Grow and expand. So to me, that again, that really has to do with that calling the energy back in, bringing all of yourself here. And as we do that, we create expansion. I'm having this other thought coming in. Okay, so I was just talking to someone earlier, and we were talking about the fact that we want to see change happen in the world, but we know that you can't experience a new outcome without changing something you're doing first. So if you're doing the same thing and you're getting the same outcome, then you need to change what you're doing to get a different outcome. And that would be how you control the situation, right? Change what you're doing. That's the only thing we have control over, is us. This thing right here going on, how I feel, how I perceive it, how I react to it, how I respond to it. If I do something about it, if I don't do something about it, that's what I got. And everything else outside of the realm of my control. And I can try to rearrange the trees in the background, but as I'm trying to force everybody else to do something, I'm out of control. And we're watching that all the time. We can see that. We can see lots of examples of people trying to control others, and you can see they appear out of control. They just appear off, right? And it has to do with this fact that they believe, and I honestly believe they're not doing it from a mean or vicious place. I think that they're just so terrified. They are so terrified that they really believe their safety is threatened if they don't control others. But it doesn't work, and you can't. And there are lots of personalities out there that the more you try to control them, the more rebellious they become. It has the opposite effect of what you want. So remembering that, grow and expand, bring all of you back, control the situation. This is your situation. This is what you got control over, and do it a little at a time. the universe is not asking for perfection here. They don't care about the perfection is already attained on the universe's side. They got it. It's done. Not interested. They really want to watch the process, and it's our process and our experience. Everything is acceptable. Everything on the other side is fascinating. That every time I talk to guides over there, they're just like, that was an interesting choice. You know what I mean? Wow, you really ran into the wall and you crashed and burned hard. Wow. You know, that's kind of how they respond to things. There's no idiot or judgment. They're just like, wow, okay, what are you doing next? It's kind of like, and the next thing is what from here? So the universe is all about receiving, collecting the data of your experience. So whatever you do is actually absolutely delightful on every like they respect you, they enjoy it, it's interesting, you're providing value, you are being of service. So it's kind of like on one level you can do what you want. However, as we know from being here, that certain actions create more pain in us and more suffering, while other actions create more joy and expansion. And they just want you to know that there's no timer on you to do this right or get it now or you're going to explode. No. They're asking you to show up every day, just a little bit every day, just like you would for any other routine you're doing. Spiritual outcome at this time is the granting of purification to resurrect service to others. This one keeps coming up a lot and I love it. The granting of, you are being given purification. This is one that, oh man, I could just like go into another like 5-hour conversation. So that is a very important word for this time. Purification. The fiery energy of the heart is opening up and it is clearing anything that is not a vibrational match to the field. The heart is where ascension is coming through. And the element associated with the heart is fire. So as the heart opens more, the fire purifies anything that is not a vibrational match. And just on one more note, when we reach the next golden age, the age of Aquarius, the master teacher of that age is Saint Germain. He is the keeper of the violet flame. And the violet flame is a transmutational flame that clears away anything negative or lesser, and it purifies. So I think it's really cool. The significance of all of this fiery energy in the heart and purification, that word's a key word right now. So the granting of purification to resurrect service to others. So what's happening right now is as the heart opens, as you open to yourself, the fiery transmutation is coming through. It's clearing away lower energy, negative attachment, traumas, scar tissue, right? The energetic scar tissue of trauma. This is all being healed and cleared and purified. And as this happens, it's like we wake up to the levels of service to others that we can attain. The humanitarian is born in this time. We are all intended to be humanitarians. We are here to be the guardians of the earth and the guardians of humanity. That's what we're here to do. We are being born into our humanitarian self. It's a beautiful time. So this energy is coming through very strong right now. Mental outcome. I love Saint Germain too. He's one of my favorites. Mental outcome at this time. Blessings from the secrets of what is good for us. Blessings from the secrets of what is good for us. This is really interesting because what is secret cannot be like openly seen. It's really frustrating for a lot of intuitives at this time because we all feel it, we know it, we sense it, and we even get excited about it. There's like tears of joy and the awareness, the tactile, like mental awareness of what is to come. We feel it, but it's still hidden. It is not what is shown. And where is it coming from? Where is it stored right now? It's stored in the collective subconscious. It's waiting for us to be ready to hold it. So, blessings from the secrets of what is good for us, right? So we're getting, again, from this energy, it's like sending a little bit at a time, a little bit more of this. Here's what you do. And all you have to do is tune out up to the noise and tune into the self. And you know what next steps to take. And it's always going to take you in the right direction for you. Physical outcome at this time, good fortune resulting from the power of your work. Remember that word work, right? It's like a 4-letter word. It's a 4-letter word, but in this case, remember, it's on that spectrum between honor and duty. So when we can connect to what we get from doing the work, when we can hold that in our mind, the work we do becomes an honor to do it. It's like I use this, it's really base example, but it works. When I remember that I get to have 3 magical, loving, adorable kitties, then scooping their poops is an honor, right? It's an honor to do it because I am connecting with the energy of what I'm being blessed with. So when we when we think about, geez, this is so gross, and I wish they would just poop outside or something, right? And then I move into duty, and I forget what I'm getting from this exchange. So I know that's just a really crass example, but it works. It just gets right to the point. When you recognize what the work is giving you, what the blessing is, what you're getting from that, good fortune results from the power of the work that you do. We're still right before Mars goes into the retrograde. Now, here's what I was told at the last spirit circle that this means. And it's intense. And I don't mean it to be, to have an all or nothing sound, but I believe it when I heard this. So the placement of Mars right now, where it's squaring Saturn, which is all about taking responsibility, and Mars is about taking action. And Mars is in its, the sign it rules of Aries, so it's a very strong energy. And when it's squaring Saturn in its sign it rules in Capricorn, we've got like 2 powerhouses coming together. So it's creating a square, which creates tension. And this particular square, knowing that Mars is about to join the retrograde party, is about understanding you came here with a mission. You don't have to exactly remember the exact words or what it is. You can feel it. But you came here with it. If you consciously accept that I'm here for a reason and I have a responsibility to fulfill, if you consciously accept that, you get sort of a power up. Like if we were in Mario Brothers, you get like a little, star thing would like pop out of the box right now. And it is a gift from the universe. It's the good fortune for you doing the work and taking the responsibility. The universe will bestow you this extra energy because as soon as Mars goes retrograde, and I believe it goes retrograde around next week, around the full moon, all those who haven't accepted this little power up are going to feel flat because all the energy for action is going to be internalized. It's going to feel like you're losing energy. You're losing momentum. You're kind of losing a little bit of willpower. Mars is connected to that willpower energy. It can flatten you out. So by taking, this is like a grace reminder that if we get in there and we own this experience, you came here for a reason, own it. Do you have to know what that reason is yet? No. But if you're like, I'm ready, I'm ready to accept my responsibility, I'm ready to play my part, whatever that is, I accept fully. It's like the universe goes cha-ching and gives you this beautiful boost of energy. It's going to sustain you through a flatter period of time. And, only time will tell. We'll be able to watch how that plays out. But the way the alignments have worked this year, and truly every year, but really this year, the alignments are so auspicious. I don't really want to F with it personally. So I'm like, right, I'm just going to just going to hold that energy and remember that I am, it is my honor to be here. And I will figure it out along the way. So I want to grant and give that to you. Let you know that you are completely supported in energy, totally loved, and absolutely appreciated. And from my heart to yours, I'm just wishing you the best week. And I cannot wait to see you next week. So thank you for being here with me. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.